Shireen, aka Master Splinter's daughter. This track kicks off the whole story, and right away you can feel the tension. It opens with a real voicemail from Kendrick's parents, not some skit cooked up in a studio. That prayer isn't just for show. It sets the tone, letting you know that this story's personal and tied to something deeper than just teenage drama. Kendrick's 17, living in Compton in the early 2000s, and like most teenagers, he's got his head full of girls, cars, and a kind of blind excitement. Shireen isn't just a crush though. She's tied to something darker, and that's what makes this intro so effective. From the jump, Kendrick paints her vividly. She's got curves, she's from Rosecrans, and she's part of the world he's growing up in. His mom warned him, and of course he ignored it. That contrast between what he's taught and what he wants is woven all through this track. It's smart because it makes him feel like a real teenager, not some polished narrator. The drive to her house? Full of little details that make it clear Kendrick's not just being poetic, he's remembering. He's got a condom in his pocket, nerves in his chest, and the radio playing something that probably felt like the soundtrack to his life. When Shireen's mom jumps in, calling him out, the nickname Master Splinter gives it that perfect mix of funny and gritty. You get the sense that Kendrick's walking into something way bigger than he realized. The production's cold. The business laid down a beat that doesn't try to outshine the story. It supports it. The bass hits low. There's this eerie synth weaving through everything, and the whole track feels like it's leading somewhere dangerous. Sound effects, like the car door and footsteps, they're not just extra polish, they're part of the story. That's what makes the whole thing feel cinematic. Kendrick said he wanted the album to feel like a film, and this song nails that. By the end, when those voices creep in and things go quiet, it's not just suspense, it's dread. You already know something's about to happen. The tension's locked in. Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Right after the chaos of Shireen, this track takes a sharp turn inward. Kendrick's not worried about girls or street drama in this one. He's locked in on protecting his energy. That opening line, I am a sinner who's probably gonna sin again, sets the whole mood. It's raw and honest. The sample from Boom Clap Bachelors lays out this spacey piano loop, and it gives everything this dreamy haze. It's clean, minimal, but still has enough bounce to keep your head nodding. Soundwave built the beat with intention. It's not flashy, and that's exactly why it works. There's this quiet confidence in the drums, the subtle synths, and the bass line that just floats under the surface. It gives Kendrick room to reflect without the track stepping on his words. When that outro hits and the beat stretches out, it doesn't feel like filler. It feels like he's letting the message sit in the air for a second. The chorus is blunt. He's saying it straight up. Don't mess with his vibe. And he means it on every level. He's talking to the industry, to fake people, to anyone trying to distract him from what mattered. The verses dig into his values without sounding preachy. 1 minute, he's talking about soul and passion. The next, he's calling out plastic people and shallow relationships. His flow shifts through it all. Sometimes smooth, sometimes aggressive, and it mirrors his internal tug of war. The skit near the end, that voice telling him to stay focused, that's what connects it to the bigger story. It's not just a song, it's a checkpoint. He's recentering himself, and if you listen closely, it sets the tone for the wild ride in the next track. What I really like here is how the song's calm, but not soft. It's got edge, and Kendrick keeps full control of the mood. It's smart, layered, and every line builds on the one before. Even without knowing the whole album, this song hits. But once you do, it fits perfectly, like a deep breath right before the storm. Backseat freestyle. This one slams the gas pedal. The story jumps into the backseat of a friend's car, and the tone flips completely. He's loud, he's proud, and he's flexing like he's untouchable. The skit at the top sets it all up, with his boys hyping him up, tossing out Martin Had a Dream, like it's a mixtape intro instead of one of the most iconic speeches in history. Kendrick flips that into his own version of ambition. And yeah, it's all money, power, and wild metaphors. That beat, Hit Boy cooked up a monster. There's a reason this track hits different. Heavy bass, tight drums, just enough space for Kendrick to let loose. It's raw, not cluttered, and it keeps all the attention on the vocals. The sample from The Recipe fits perfectly into the chorus and repeats like an anthem. It's not subtle, it's not supposed to be. Kendrick's verses, straight, teenage fantasy. Eiffel Tower line, wild on purpose. It's aggressive, cocky, and kinda ridiculous, because that's what being 17 with a mic and no filter sounds like. His delivery's relentless. There's zero hesitation. He name drops Compton, and Matrix references all in one breath, bouncing between absurd confidence and real danger like it's nothing. You can tell he's surrounded by people who live off this energy. Every line sounds like he's trying to earn respect from the car seats around him. There's no pause, no reflection, just ego. But under that, the skits and references still tie back to the bigger story. The outro moves the narrative forward again, keeping the album glued together like a film. What makes this track work isn't that it's deep, It's that it's real. Kendrick said it's a scripted freestyle, but it plays like a moment that could have happened anywhere in Compton. He's channeling what the city teaches young guys to value, and he's doing it loud. It's not glorified, it's exposed. And that's the point. The flexing won't last forever, but for these 3 minutes and 32 seconds, Kendrick's untouchable. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, The Art of Peer Pressure. This track hits different because it feels like a confession, not a flex. Kendrick takes a break from the bravado and gives you a story that's personal, real, and kind of chilling. No chorus, no breaks, just straight storytelling. It starts with him and 3 friends packed into a white Toyota, a quarter tank of gas, a pistol, and some orange soda. Sounds harmless until it's not. You can almost smell the stale backseat air and feel the tension creeping in. The beat builds slow. Taboo kept it haunting and stripped down, with just enough eerie synth and bass to make everything feel off balance. It shifts halfway through, like the story itself. The second half is more intense, heavier drums, tighter rhythm, and it mirrors how the night unravels. This isn't about punchlines, it's about that creeping dread. Kendrick's flow stays locked in, flipping from laid back to panicked without missing a beat. What pulls this track together is the theme. Peer pressure isn't a vague idea here. It's real. Kendrick smokes when he normally wouldn't, joins in when things escalate, and keeps repeating, "I'm with the homies," like it's both an excuse and a trap. He's not pretending to be hard. He's showing how easy it is to get pulled into stuff you wouldn't normally do when your friends are right there. The skit at the end, with his mom's voice asking him to come home, hits hard after all that chaos. It snaps the story back to reality. The details are sharp. There's a line about the stash box being janky, and you just know something's about to go wrong. Every verse drags you deeper into the tension until you're riding with them, feeling that same uneasy adrenaline. Kendrick doesn't overdo the drama, he just tells it, and that's what makes it land. It fits perfectly after backseat freestyle, like a reality check. All that confidence melts when real danger shows up. The Art of Peer Pressure takes the fantasy, tears it apart, and leaves you wondering how close Kendrick was to a different path. It's not just a song, it's a warning, dressed as a memory. Money trees. This track doesn't just slow things down, it widens the lens. After the chaos, in The Art of Peer Pressure, Kendrick's back with a cooler head, thinking big picture. That beach house interpolation opens everything up, floating over the beat like a dream he can't quite grab. It's catchy, sure, but there's weight behind it. This isn't a party anthem, it's a quiet moment of reflection, disguised as a flex track. DJ Dahi nailed the atmosphere. It's smooth and airy, but that bass still punches. The slow tempo keeps it grounded, letting Kendrick stretch out his thoughts. There's space to breathe, space to think. That guitar riff from Silver Soul is hypnotic. It pulls you in and won't let go. The beat never gets in the way of the story, and that's what makes it stick. Kendrick uses every bar to unpack the tension between what he wants and what he's afraid of becoming. It's all in there. Money, crime, dreams, fear, Halle Berry or hallelujah. Pick your poison. That line sums it up perfectly. You're either chasing fame or chasing salvation. But either way, it's a risk. He paints Compton as a place where money looks like freedom, but nothing's ever that simple. J-Rock's verse, it's cold, grounded, and exactly what the song needed. He doesn't glamorize anything. He's been there. He knows what it costs. His tone's more raw, more direct, and it balances Kendrick's introspection with the street's reality. When he says, "Put the price up on your life," you feel it. The skit at the end with Kendrick's mom calling for her car, classic. It yanks you back to reality. This whole track might sound like a dream, but the real world's still knocking. And it ties the story back into the rest of the album without missing a beat. It fits perfectly between the tension of peer pressure and the firestorm of Mad City. It's not just a breather, it's a warning. Money trees might offer shade, but they don't promise safety. Kendrick's just trying to figure out if the fruit is even worth it. Poetic Justice. This track slips in like a slow breeze after the weight of Money Trees, but it's not just a love song, it's part of the bigger picture. That Janet Jackson sample sets the tone right away. Scoop DeVille pulled any time, any place into this beat and let it loop like a memory that won't fade. It's smooth, hypnotic, and just hazy enough to make you forget what kind of world this story takes place in. But Kendrick doesn't. He never lets the softness take over the message. Right from the chorus, he's using metaphors to talk about love in a place where that kind of thing isn't supposed to grow. If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? That's Kendrick talking to Shireen, sure, but he's also talking to himself. Can something real survive in Compton? Can someone like him stay vulnerable? Drake's verse slides in with the usual cool confidence. He's not deep in the narrative like Kendrick, but he plays his part. His lines keep the romantic vibe going while adding that polish and swagger people expect from him. It gives the track a boost without stealing its soul. Kendrick's last verse brings it right back to reality, with Shireen on his mind and tension building in the background. Then the skit hits. Kendrick and his friends run into Shireen's people, and things get tense quick. That sudden shift reminds you, this isn't just about love, it's about risk. Every moment of tenderness lives next to a threat. The mixing keeps everything tight. Kendrick's voice cuts through the soft sample without overpowering it. Drake's vocals get a little more space, but not enough to distract. The beat stays minimal, letting the lyrics carry all the weight. It fits right in the middle of the album's arc. After chasing money and money trees, Kendrick's chasing connection. But both paths come with consequences. Poetic Justice shows what happens when personal desires meet a brutal environment. It's not sweet, it's complicated, and that's what makes it feel real. This isn't fantasy. It's romance on a ticking clock. Good Kid. This track slows the pace, but turns up the weight. The sirens at the top aren't just effects. They're memories. The production sets the whole thing in motion with a beat that feels like a sigh and a warning all at once. That bass line's heavy, but smooth, and those synths, they glide through like they're dodging something. Kendrick's verses are packed with pressure. He's not boasting, he's pleading, explaining how being a good kid doesn't matter when the world sees you as a problem. Barbershop Fades becomes a metaphor for getting lined up by cops, by gangs, by the system. It's clever, but it hurts. And Skateboard P's hook only adds to the tension. Mass confusion in my head. It's not a catchy chorus, it's a mental health status update. The verses get more intense as they go. Kendrick's not just surrounded by violence, he's absorbing it. Dodging bullets like a fucked up Matrix isn't just a punchline, it's how it felt to survive. He talks about food stamps, about feeling hunted, and still, somehow, wanting to hold on to that good kid identity. There's this heartbreaking line. They say my city's a war zone, but I just want to go home. That one hits like a final straw. By the last verse, Kendrick's looking right at the listener. I got a good heart. He's clinging to that while everything else tries to pull it from him. The way his voice shifts, soft, urgent, almost shaking, it makes the track feel less like a rap and more like a journal entry. The chorus repeats in the outro, with Kendrick throwing in ad-libs that feel like echoes. The skit with his parents comes in again, bringing it full circle. It's not just a musical break, it's a lifeline. The track may be dark, but the voicemail reminds you someone still sees him as a son, not a suspect. Good Kid doesn't offer solutions, it doesn't try to fix anything. It just tells the truth. And in the middle of all this chaos, that honesty is what makes it stand out. M.A.A.d City. This track kicks the door off the hinges. It starts with the voice warning you to brace yourself, and that's not just a line, it's a promise. The beat in part 1 hits hard, with synths that stab and a bass line that's heavier than guilt. Soundwave and THC weren't playing around. It's got that classic West Coast menace, but it feels updated, sharper, meaner. Kendrick dives into his childhood, but there's no nostalgia here. He's painting Compton in brutal detail. You get lines about lineups, murders, and identity being reduced to your zip code. Where you from isn't small talk, it's a threat. And Kendrick delivers it with a tone that flips from memory to warning with no pause. That internal rhyme density, unreal, but none of it feels flashy. It just feels necessary. Then the beat switches. Quincy Jones gets looped in, and suddenly the vibe shifts from raw anger to focused chaos. It's still violent, but there's soul in it now. Terrace Martin and Soundwave smoothed it out without softening the impact. Kendrick's flow speeds up. He's urgent, he's cornered, and he's done pretending this life hasn't scarred him. Then m.A.A.d comes in. Voice low and calm, like a man who's lived through it all. He's not just a feature, he's a link to Compton's past. His verse roots the song even deeper, giving it that generational weight. The way his delivery contrasts with Kendrick's frantic tone, it lands perfectly. The skit at the end brings everything full circle. Another voicemail, another reminder that even with all this madness, someone's still waiting for Kendrick to come home. That's the core of the whole album, family trying to pull him back from the edge. This song's not about glorifying violence. It's about exposure, about the pressure of trying to grow up in a war zone without becoming part of it. M.A.A.d City doesn't flinch, doesn't fake it, and doesn't give you time to catch your breath. It's a warning shot from someone who lived it and made it out, barely. Swimming pools. This one tricks you right out the gate. The chant feels like a party. Pour up, drank, headshot, drank, but that's the trap. T-Minus built a beat that's club ready on the surface, but under all that bounce is a warning. Kendrick isn't celebrating the bottle, he's stuck in it, circling around the pressure to drink like it's some kind of ritual. The first verse lays it out clearly. This isn't just about getting tipsy, it's about watching people drown in it daily. There's no glamour in Kendrick's delivery when he talks about growing up around some people living their life in bottles. It's quiet, cold, and matter of fact. He's seen what drinking does. The second verse leans deeper into the pressure, Why you babysitting only 2 or 3 shots is a dare, but it's also a shove. Shireen gets named again, not as a love interest, but as a symbol of temptation tying back to earlier track. The switch up in verse 3 is where the real confrontation starts. Kendrick calls himself out. Open your mind up and listen to me, Kendrick. That inner voice isn't subtle. It's trying to shake him awake. The tempo slows slightly, the delivery softens, and the lines hit harder. This isn't a party anymore. It's a mirror. That line, "You're moving backwards when you're sipping on that," lands like a slap. It's a reality check, dressed in synths and snare hits. The chorus keeps repeating, more layered, each time, like it's echoing through a hangover. By the time the outro hits, it's less of a vibe and more of a loop Kendrick can't escape. The skit with his mom's voicemail drops in right after, pulling him back into the world with a reminder that his choices don't exist in a vacuum. This track sits right at the turning point. After dodging bullets in a mad city and grappling with identity and good kid, now he's looking inward. Swimming pools isn't just about drinking. It's about drowning in everything that comes with it. It's slick, it's hypnotic, and it's honest enough to leave a mark. Sing About Me. I'm dying of thirst. The track split into 2 halves and the shift is real. Sing About Me hits like a quiet storm with a slow tempo that lets the stories breathe. It's got this hazy jazz backdrop with a soft piano loop and muted bass that drags you into its weight. There's no hook here, just 3 verses, each with its own narrator. Kendrick slips into their skin, a friend from the streets, a woman stuck in survival mode, and finally, himself. You can feel how the vocal effects fade out at the end of his verse, almost like those voices are being swallowed by time. It's eerie, but real. The background vocals aren't flashy, they're haunting, tucked in just right to echo the sadness under everything. Then it flips. I'm Dying of Thirst picks up the pace. Not too fast, but with more urgency. You can hear that guitar sample from Grant Green, and the drums pull harder. This part sounds like it's reaching for something better, even if it's crawling there. Kendrick's tone changes too. He's not just telling stories now. He's begging for a way out. The prayer skit sneaks in, and suddenly, it's not just music anymore. It's like a baptism, like someone hit pause to save the whole crew from burning out. That moment shifts everything. The production doesn't just support the message, it deepens it. Sky Hutch on Terrace Martin keep the sound live and raw. The sax sneaks in, and it's beautiful, but it's not there to make you feel good, it's there to remind you what's at stake. Kendrick's flow flips between calm and desperate, depending on whose voice he's wearing. That's not easy, but he makes it feel natural. And when you step back, it all fits into the bigger story. Tragedy, redemption, and family pulling you back before it's too late. The difference between those themes is razor thin, but Kendrick walks it like he's been there, because he has. Real. This one lands right after all the chaos, and it doesn't waste time clearing the smoke. The beat's slow, like it's letting Kendrick catch his breath. It starts with his parents' voices. His mom wants her car back. His dad drops the line, real is responsibility. That's the whole mission statement right there. The chorus rolls in with Anna Wise singing, I do what I want to do, I say what I want to say, and it's mellow, but sharp. She keeps repeating, I'm real, and Kendrick echoes that with ad-libs like he's finally convinced himself. He opens the first verse by laying it all out. Trials, tribulations, faith. He's not just rapping, he's testifying. The line about the money and fame being a curse hits hard, especially after the flexing earlier in the album. When he says he's dodging bullets like it's some messed up dodgeball game, it's a flashback and a warning. Verse 2 keeps it going. Peer pressure, prison, heartbreak, it's all in there. He drops a line about loving Shireen, but not being in love with her. And just like that, he's moved on from the obsession that opened the album. Growth in real time. By the 3rd verse, he's all in on who he really is. Not just a kid from Compton, but someone shaped by it without being owned by it. He says real is loving your mama, loving your kids, not gang signs or street cred. He cuts through all the noise from earlier and says straight up, real ain't about being a Crip or a Blood. It's about something way higher. The outro brings it full circle. Anna Wise's vocals float while Kendrick talks about purpose. His parents' voices come back, and his mom tells him he's got a gift. It's not a brag, it's a moment. There's even a prayer that closes it out. Same voice from the beginning of the album. It's not just a wrap-up, it's a reset. The production's smooth and soulful with live piano, strings, and that warm bass pulling everything together. Terrace Martin built it all like a quiet anthem. There's no flash, just feeling. It's Kendrick, choosing clarity over chaos. Compton. This one's a finale that doesn't tiptoe. It charges in with a brass section like the city just won a championship. Produced by Just Blaze, the beat's got orchestral strings, heavy drums, and layered horns that build a triumphant soundstage. It's loud, bold, and proud, sitting at around 86 beats per minute, just slow enough to strut but never dragging. No samples here either. It's all original, and it sounds like a celebration with real weight behind it. Kendrick's 2 verses are sharp and defiant. He opens by name-dropping rap legends, then calls himself King Kendrick like it's a fact, not a flex. Every line's packed with pride. He talks about Compton, not as a curse, but as a crown. Dr. Dre jumps in for the second verse, laying down a calm but heavy set of bars. He's the old guard, Kendrick's mentor, and this verse feels like him handing over the keys. They don't split the mic evenly by accident. This is Dre's way of saying Kendrick's earned the spotlight. The chorus is simple, just that repeated, Compton, Compton, ain't no city quite like mine, but the delivery makes it an anthem. The outro echoes that, ending the album's standard edition on a high note. Kendrick isn't just surviving Compton anymore, he's carrying it with him. The mix is wide and dramatic. The vocals sit perfectly on top of all that noise, with Brian Gardner mastering the whole thing so it stays warm and loud without losing clarity. Dr. Dre's verse was recorded separately, but the energy matches like they were in the same room. Thematically, this one's pure pride. It wraps up everything the album wrestled with: peer pressure, violence, family, legacy, and plants a flag. It doesn't ignore the city's issues, but it doesn't dwell either. It's more focused on survival, resilience, and passing the torch. This track might not have been a single, but it performed like one at shows. Kendrick often used it to close out sets, sometimes even bringing Dre along. It's not just a victory lap. It's Kendrick walking off stage, head high, Compton behind him, future ahead. The recipe. This one feels like the sun's out, the windows are down, and Compton's on full display. Produced by Scoop DeVille, the beat floats on an interpolation of Meet the Frownies, with that dreamy guitar riff and soft vocals looping, smoking weed with you. It's laid back but confident, riding at around 93 beats per minute, and it's got that West Coast snap with crisp drums and a thick bass line. Kendrick kicks things off with a verse that blends nostalgia with ambition. He's painting a picture of car lots full of Impalas and Caprices, name-dropping Rosecrans, and cracking jokes while chasing success. That squirrel trying to get a nut line? Straight from Friday. He's not trying to escape Compton. He's inviting everyone in. Then Dre takes over with that signature calm and forceful delivery. His bars hit like advice from the neighborhood kingpin who made it out but never left. He talks about aftermath, staying local, and holding down the dynasty. The chorus brings it all together. Women, weed, and weather. They come together like sweaters. It's catchy and ridiculous in the best way, wrapping up the Compton experience with a smirk. Kendrick jumps back in for a second verse, paying respect to the West Coast pioneers while showing off how far he's come. He throws in lines about dodging jail and flying high, threading Compton's struggles into the celebration. The outro layers their vocals and fades with Dre calling Kendrick the future. It's a handoff wrapped in a party. Mixed by Ali keeps the vocals riding high, and Brian Gardner gives it polished without killing the bounce. There's even ambient sounds, car engines, subtle street noise, giving it that cruising vibe. As a bonus track, it doesn't sit in the album's main storyline, but it fills out the world. It's got the same pride as Compton, but leans heavier into the feel-good side. There's no pretense, just vibes and legacy. Dre's stamp is all over it, and Kendrick rides that wave while carving out his own lane. This isn't about survival or redemption, it's about soaking in what Compton gave them and pushing that into the future. Black Boy Fly. This one doesn't flex, it reflects. Rocky's production sets the mood right away with warm piano, soft drums, and a subtle gospel humming underneath like something's about to bloom. At around 88 beats per minute, the pace feels steady, letting Kendrick unpack it all without rushing. There's no sample here, but the beat still feels lived in, like someone turned ambition into sound. Kendrick opens up in verse 1, saying he used to be jealous of Aaron Aflalo, not just for the success, but because he had a way out, and Kendrick didn't. At least not yet. It's not shade, it's honesty. He was watching Aaron move while stuck at home, and that sparked something. By the second verse, it's Aaron Hicks getting the spotlight. Another local kid flying high. Kendrick's still grounded, and the envy's still there, but it's changing. By verse 3, he's flipped the script. He's talking about his own rise, getting paper, really being in the game. That shift from admiration to self-actualization is what gives the song its weight. It's not a brag, it's a moment of realization. The chorus, Black Boy Fly, repeats like a mantra, not a hook. It's him talking to the kid he used to be, and all the kids still there. The mixing's crisp, with Kendrick's vocals pushed forward, clear over the instrumentation. Mixed by Ali keeps the emotion right at the surface, with that piano carrying everything from doubt to pride. Brian Gardner's mastering makes it all feel cohesive, keeping that soulful tone in line with the album's cinematic feel. This one's a bonus track, sitting after Compton, but it doesn't feel like an afterthought. If Compton was the victory lap, this is the internal debrief. No skits, no distractions, just Kendrick and the truth. It doesn't advance the story, but it deepens it, tying back to themes in Real and Sing About Me. It didn't chart, didn't need to. It resonated because it told a story so many recognized. Kendrick wasn't just celebrating success, he was explaining what it took to get there, envy included. And by the time that final Black Boy Fly fades, it feels earned. Now or never. This track floats in with a sense of triumph and keeps that energy locked in. The production, courtesy of Jack Splash, builds around a glowing interpolation of the Jackson 5's Maybe Tomorrow, with piano lines that make it feel like the clouds are parting. Sitting at 98 beats per minute, it's the kind of rhythm that keeps you moving forward without ever rushing the message. Mary J opens things up with that unmistakable voice, singing, "Maybe tomorrow, I'll find my way." And just like that, you know this isn't about surviving, it's about thriving. Her chorus line, "Now or never, gotta live forever," sounds like something tattooed across a mindset. Kendrick jumps in on the first verse, reflecting on his climb from a place where roaches weren't metaphor. He's dodging the devil, keeping pace with life's obstacle, and tying it all back to the sleepless streets of Compton. Mary J takes the second verse and pulls from her own battle scar. "You gotta fight for what you want" hits differently when it's coming from someone who's actually done it. That verse mirrors Kendrick's, but it carries a weight of lived-in wisdom. The pairing works not because it's flashy, but because it feels earned. In the third verse, Kendrick shifts gears and looks up, trying to touch the sky, trying to touch the stars. That line alone could close the track, but he keeps going. He shouts out those locked up, tipping his hat to the ones who didn't get the same shot. And when he says he owes it to those who showed him the way, that line's not just about Dre, it's about everyone who put a hand on his back instead of a target. The outro hits with layered vocals from Mary J and Kendrick, fading out on Hope. Mixed by Ali, keeps the sound bright and clean, while Brian Gardner makes sure it all feels like a finale, even though it's a bonus track. It doesn't push the story forward, but it doesn't have to. It stands beside Real in Compton like the epilogue to a story about growth, resilience, and grabbing the moment before it slips away. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.